Okay, you're on. You're on now. Yeah, good. Another film from 10,000 videos and counting, and hours of quality, saturated knowledge. And right now, what we're going to face is one breaking news topic that has to be talked about, and that is the upcoming Major League Baseball World Series. And that's so important. I wish that I could be one of those guys out there playing on the field. That's all I have to say. Now I'll throw out the first pitch. And may the best team win, as the saying goes. About winning, competitive sports and all that. Alright. Now let's talk about the universal truth that is a fight between good and evil, and whether or not we can prove philosophically the existence of some kind of a God, a God. What does God mean, and is it worth talking about, since I constantly put off the subject as long as possible, because it's like, it gets to be like very intense if people think you're someone that talks about that, because they're just like, well, if you lose them on that, it really makes it just, talk about other things, like talk about the weather, talk about cheese cakes. But we're going to talk about God because people think that I believe in God, but they're not sure what I'm actually believing in when they think that I actually believe in it. So if I do believe in it, what is it that I'm believing in? The definition is everything, and down to the minute details. So defining God would take a long time. I mean, I would just tell you I've alluded to the tip of the iceberg on this, how much I've thought about it. I hope that I think about it every day a little bit. I hope that I do some pondering and contemplation and all that. I hope that I do. And I should be a good influence on that type of thing. People are reminding you about everything else that they're trying to sell. Do I have something to sell with God? Yeah. But it's not easily sold. It's not something that I can just... I would like to think that an innocent child, in such perfection, can just say, here it is, God on a plate, and you're going to order that from the menu. And then we can just collect up all the good tips that you're going to give us for the excellent service that we do. And it is about serving something, servant. So part of the definition, you have to realize that I'm serving something. Believing, that's a whole other issue to debate. But to conclude the debate about what belief is, what is the action of to believe, the verb, it means many things, but up to ultimately is what you truly set your destiny on. It's that thing, or that idea, that belief that you hold dearly, that it means everything to you. Nothing matters if you can't have that. That's the number one priority. That's what your belief is. We hold these beliefs to be self-evident. What is it that it is? Do we believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in democracy? Do we believe in science? Do we believe in money, sex, drugs? In God we trust? Do we believe in trust? Do we believe in the savings bank, or playing the stock market, Or do we believe in Las Vegas gambling and you're going to win big one day? Maybe you will. I'm not saying, I'm not sure. If you do something long enough, you might come out with, statistically you will come out with that. Anything that you sustain your mind on is a belief. Anything that you're thinking of, even if it's a negative. Some people have a negative belief that they believe in. Believe it or not. The fact. But the other majority of people, the way they're believing in it is something like positive. It's like a thing that they focus, that they're bringing into manifestation because they're always on it. They hold it dear, like they cling, they hold, they stick to it. It's like a magnet. It's like the ground that they stand on. It's the gravity that pulls them. That's what they're connected with. That's belief. That's just more descriptive to try to tell you what I mean by believing. So some people they're believing in something. So that's the side of God that we have to realize. What is your God? It could be anything. There could be millions of things. It could be an idol. Or it could be something that you think it's not an idol. I don't worship or believe or follow a God that's any idol. I believe in a God that's beyond the idol. It's not the idol. Okay? Because I'm not going to follow these idols. No, now we have to define idol. And what's Baal? Baal worship. And Baal is defined from the original language back then, having something to do with the concept of ownership and husbandry. What's all that about? What is all this? Maybe what we believe in is what we own. So talking about God, it's like I do want to worship God the way that I choose to. I have to have that. When I come right down to it, 100%, I need to have that. Anyone that resists me on that, that's an enemy of my God. That is my enemy. The only way to become enemy with me is to go against what I have as a God. Oh yeah, them is fighting words. And that's where war comes from. Because it's one God versus another God. Like the Olympian Mount Olympus battles. This God got mad at the other God. Of course they do. We gotta settle the score. I get an ally with this one. This God and this God teamed up to beat ass of this God because of what this God did with the other God, the goddess. Some kind of jealousy like that. Like who's strongest? Who's in charge? Who's authority? Who's the boss? Gods. Are there many gods or one God? Both. Both, see? I can give you just as much proof that there's multiple gods just by what I told you, that somebody could worship the knife.
But we could
Somebody,
say that there's
You're just jumping in here. Well, go ahead.
So we could say that there's like an hierarchy of gods, many gods, hierarchy. And then on top, there's the one ruler, but he's all that what's underneath him, that is part of him, including us. So there is level of goddess who, celestial creatures who have like powerful
bunches of them. Bunched together.
But they all have to work for the Almighty. They all work together in harmony
They have to work for the Almighty.
Keep it, going and shining and.
So, yes, the Almighty, the One, of course.
Yes. So
we have to face the One.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that there's forces that resonate together with others, and they do get used in combination, like chocolate and peanut butter, for example. And pen and ink. Or, the ink that's in the pen and then the paper itself. What's the paper going to do without the ink? Nothing, just sit around. It's just a blank page. Or a rock. It's a clean slate. Until you start chiseling into it and you etch it in stone. It's not going to remain blank, but the thing goes together with it. Like the hammer and anvil, which is a big symbol for me. This probably should be mine since I'm hammering the Iron Age. And this, what's this you say? It's not the Iron Age. We're in a golden age. Like the different types of metal. They do this archaeological, historical symbolism, which may or may not be Kabbalistic. Numbers. Here's Rimonium. And what it is pomegranate. It's gotten big these days. It's being marketed by shrewd entrepreneurs. Heart healthy, da 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 da. Well, it's something that Adam knew thousands of years ago, at the beginning in the Garden of Eden, in paradise. Yeah. So you're going back to the basics, but selling it for a high price. Different concoctions and permutations of pomegranate. But, like, there's supposed to be a certain amount of seeds in there. And that's numerology. Take another example of just like the mitzvot. Now they count up that there's 613 mitzvot, and they further divide that by saying there's a certain amount of mitzvot that's for good, and there's positive affirmation, and the other side is mitzvot that are negatory or negative, like they're telling you something which is bad and go against it, not to do it. So the mitzvot is I think there's 365 count, and then there's another count of the, or maybe that is the count of the amount of the number of bones in the human body. So the amount of bones in the body, that could be counted. There's numerology for you. If Solomon collected 666 talents of gold every year, great Shlomo, the king of the world, at that time, you must have heard about him by now. If he collected 613 talents of gold, why do the Romans then come along after that? They get started right after that. I think, right after that. Because the Greeks pre-existed the Romans. They were before them. See? And that's, kind of common knowledge. But there's this type of person that is the Roman, the Caesar, the emperor. This is a huge core influence of America today, and the British, as well as the Germans under the Third Reich. And getting back to the Romans, and their eagle and this and that, other symbols. They do have a symbology, and their numerology contains the 666 because you add up their numerals. They don't use anything else. But you can repeat a numeral. But if you got the 1 and the 5 is represented as a V. That's a V, but what did they use for V then? If the V was representing a number, 5. They didn't have the letter V, but they had lots of names and places that start with a V, like Vesuvius and Vespasian, emperor. They had, didn't they have Viva? Latin is their language. So everything adds up to 666 for them. And then every time you triple a number, 666, it represents something. And that's the number of man. Something about humanity. 555 is what? Something else. 777 is what? Something else. And now we come back to, well, what's up? 777 is like lucky 7 3 times.